You've grown 7x in the past 2 years.
Yes.
What have been the main drivers of this growth?
Big question. Culture is the thing where I invest the most time. I consider it very precious. It's built over 1,000 decisions, and then you make one mistake, and then you go back, and then you need to go forward again. So the first thing is really important. Second thing is, I think, is the source of our competitive advantage. And the third thing is you have to write your culture. So culture can be written, and we've written it in our manifesto, and it's public, and it's Qida Manifesto, and it's really important for us. And I always say, if what's most important to you is your lifestyle, for example, don't come to work with us. It's not who we are. It's not our value proposition. Of course, we don't crunch people all around, but we want people to work hard for our mission. If what you want, one of the things you want is to leave a mark in this world, come and work with us. If you want to work with good people, come and work with us. If you want to work with people that are good, come and work with us. So if you want to grow fast, come and work with us, right? And so it's really about why do people join us or want to join us, and then how relevant is impact within that.
What if the best hospital was in your living room? Oriol Fuertes is the former McKinsey consultant and public health strategist who founded Qida, one of Europe's leading tech-enabled at-home healthcare providers. After seeing how hospitals and apps often distance us from real care, he built a service that puts people over systems, data over assumptions, and compassion over cost. Today, Qida is reimagining what it means to age, care, and heal, proving that scaling with empathy can solve healthcare's greatest challenges. Welcome to Reinventing Capitalism, the podcast where I, Claudia Thomas, decode the success of for-profit impact businesses through the stories of their founders. Our goal is to inspire you towards a purpose-driven career, because life's too short for boring jobs and soul-crushing corporations. Quick note before we get back to the episode. Just give me 30 seconds of your time. 2 things. The first is a huge thank you for listening and tuning into the show week after week. It means the world to me. And the second is that we are just getting started. If you enjoy what we do here, please join the 14% of people that listen to this podcast regularly and follow us on this app. I promise to do everything in my power to make this show as good as I can, now and into the future. Thank you. Oriol, we're here in Barcelona in this studio.
Yeah.
You've been a consultant at McKinsey, and then you did your MBA at LBS,
Yeah.
2 very prestigious organizations. And 7 years ago, you founded Qida. What's the problem that Qida is solving?
Thank you. Thank you for having us here. Really, really happy about it. So I think we're solving a couple of problems, but the main one is healthcare system sustainability. So we are seeing across Europe that healthcare spend is growing like 6% year on year, and GDP at most grows 2 to 3%, right? So the gap keeps widening and widening and widening. And so after these 10 years at McKinsey, I saw, well, the solution must be to actually use less the system. So keep people at home for longer so they use the healthcare system less. And then how are we going to do that? Well, by creating a company whose mission is to keep the elderly at home for longer. And so as obvious as it might sound, that's our mission. And the problem is healthcare system sustainability. That's what we solve.
So when you say elderly at home, does that mean healthy elderly at home versus having them at a hospital or at a stay?
Yeah, so maybe step back and a step forward. So 3 to 4% of population in any given developed country spends roughly over 0.5% of the healthcare spend. So over the last 3 to 4 years of our life, we spend over half of what we'll spend in our lives, right? That's element 1. Element 2 is, of the budgets we spend in healthcare across Europe, a very tiny percentage is prevention. So how do we bring that together, right? So what we said is, look, can we create a platform, a business that takes the elderly or the seniors when they are 60, 55, 65, all the way till end of life. So we help them prevent and take care of themselves. And then once they need care, we actually care for them. So really taking the whole end-to-end picture so that these actually people get ill later. And once they get ill, we keep them at home as opposed to hospital, as you mentioned.
Wow. It's a very emotional topic. How did you come up with the idea? Were you related somehow?
Yeah, very related. So my first 10 years after graduating from ESADE were, McKinsey, right? And in McKinsey, I learned a lot, and something I would do again if I were, again, 22 or something when I started. But the reality was that I was lucky enough to only do healthcare work. So working with alongside around 30 governments or regional governments, mostly in Spain and the UK, but other parts of Europe, around the same question. How do we make our healthcare system sustainable? So once you've done that 30 times, you see that the answer is to be preventative, be proactive, keep patients at home, invest in technology, etc., etc. And so once you see all of that, you say, well, why would I set up Qida? There were two main reasons. One was legacy. I was doing my MBA, and the teacher asked us, what would your best friend read about you when you die? And I said, well, I want them to read something like, this man changed the world for better, thanks to healthcare, right? Which is what he knew. So that's reason one, legacy. And reason two is frustration, because I was writing and writing the same, but I actually wanted it to happen. And so I said, well, I can spend my life writing it, but why don't I set up something whose aim is to do what I'm writing? So those were the two feelings, the legacy and the frustration, that moves me to go for it.
So how does it work? Tell us a little bit about the customer journey from both perspectives, from the carer and the elder that's being taken care of.
Yeah, so out of, in the group, in Qida group, we've got like three main business units. The first business unit is a prevention business unit, then private home care and public home care. So we've got three, roughly similar weights amongst them. And so business unit number one is about prevention. So it's an insurance that you, as a customer, hire between the age of 60 and 75 years old when you're healthy. So when you don't have Alzheimer or Parkinson or multiple sclerosis. And then we help you prevent from getting them. And if you get them, we accompany you or we support you on that journey. So that's element one. Private is easy. So private is out of pocket. So it's when people need care at home. Typically the daughter or the son call us and they say, hey, we need care for our parents. And then, we see different options, which one is the package that they need, and then we start. And then public is completely different. So we work with governments to take care of patients that they, as a government, have insured. So three different businesses, but all actually responding to the same element, which is how do we keep these people at home for longer?
Yeah. You say governments.
Yeah.
How many countries are you present in?
It's a good question. So we are only in Spain for now.
Okay.
But there are multiple layers, as people know. Most people know in Spain, right? Like there is the national level, regional level, which there are 17. And then there are over 700 public tenders that are tendered at county or council level. And so these are contracts that go from almost 100 million in Barcelona per year. It's a large contract, to tiny, tiny towns that tender out, 50K a year. And so really is, where do you want to play? Do you play in smaller, medium, or large cities? And then what's your positioning there? And so, we're working now with around 100 public institutions across the Spanish country. And so, from small cities to large cities.
And how easy would it be to replicate this model in other countries?
I think easy and hard. Easy because demand is there. The answer is not there. So typically when there is a large growing market unresolved, good place to create a social impact business. But hard because it's regulated, it's country specific, and it's culture specific, right? Like, for example, in Spain, family has a role which is different than the UK or Germany. Like, it's not better or worse, it's just different. Yeah. And so when we go international, we'll go through M&A. We will acquire companies internationally, as opposed to start organically from the ground up. Yeah. It's much harder, and you need local heroes, like people that really know regulation, and they are incentivized to make it as big or more as you wish.
Absolutely. I think of Qida, and I think of two things. One, it's a lot of operational technology, so making sure that everything works, the application, the logistics, and then a very heavy aspect of human emotion, because obviously you're dealing with family members or with elderly or people that need these services. How do you optimize for efficiency without losing empathy throughout this whole process?
It's a great question, and what you say is right. I think the main thing is, what are the moments of truth of the client that are relevant? Any moment of truth, which are them, right? So the first call or video call with an advisor is a moment of truth. The first day that they know the carer, like, is it gonna work or not work? The day that there is a problem, do we respond or not? Right? So identifying those moments of truth, and there we have like a person that is assigned to each case. So as opposed to you calling a pool and then that pool, some will answer you, No. Like you are assigned to a person and the person is the care manager, right? So
Okay.
that is very relevant. The flip side of that is you need to optimize all the rest, right? So you need to optimize all the cost to serve aspects, right? Like how do you hire a caterer? How do you match the caterer? How do you respond to admin stuff? Like all of that needs to be heavily optimized. And so it's about knowing moments of truth, and then you put human and time and quality and so on. But then on the back, you need to make sure like the whole orchestra is as digitalized and optimized as possible.
So you have one person that stays with the care from start to end.
Yeah, so there is a family or a patient
Yeah.
with their family, a carer, and then a care coordinator. And this care coordinator manages like around between 100 and 140 cases at any given time. So they know name, surname, situation. They're regionally close by. So that role is critical, and we've got it across businesses, both in prevention, private, and public. It's part of our common value proposition of the group.
Okay, awesome. It seems like that must be something that the patients really value.
Yeah, that is big reason why they come. At the end, no one calls a home care company or Qida or anyone saying, "Hey, I want a sensor at home," or "I
Yeah.
want a robot."
No, you wanna.
People want a human.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Of course, this is changing and it needs to change and evolve, right? But at the same time, there is a human touch we don't want to lose.
Yeah.
So finding that balance, I think, is good. And I think, look, technology is not bad, right? Like it's really good. It's just where and how do we use it?
You've grown 7x in the past 2 years.
Yes.
What have been the main drivers of this growth?
Big question. The main one is working hard. No silver bullet.
I know that you do it.
Yes, working hard. Any founder, we need to work hard.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like I don't think you can set up a company, fund a company, and grow a company working part-time. I don't think that works.
What's working hard for you?
60 hours a week.
60 hours a week.
70. Between
Yeah.
60 and 70. That is an okay week.
Wow.
More than 70 is a hard week. There are some. Less than 60.
Not many.
No, I don't think I've got them. Yeah, so number one is work hard. It's what it is. By the way, I don't expect every single person in the company to work 60 hours, but we work very hard at management team, exco level, management team level, non-operational teams, like tech teams, like, yeah, we work hard, and it's part of our value proposition. We can speak about it later if there is a chance. But number one is work hard. Number two has been really combine organic and inorganic growth. For us, is really relevant having that combination. We've executed very well, I would say, a number of deals across this market. Then number three is what I call constantly being able to work on phase one, phase two, phase three initiatives. So phase one initiatives are initiatives that give you revenue today. Phase two are initiatives that are tiny, but they're already building something and they will become relevant in 1-2 years. And phase three are things that you are thinking long term. They don't bring any value now, but if you work on them really hard, maybe one day they are relevant. So we worked on a lot of threes and twos in 2020, in 2021. And so they become real in 23, 24, 25, right? So I think being able to build a scale up, you need to be able to work on those three dimensions is really key.
It's clear that Qida is a mission-driven company. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, you're in the VC business. Where or how have you approached the situation where you had to choose between the purpose of the company and high growth?
I've chosen to not choose. Okay. And that's a choice. I actually believe that social impact is about choosing to not choose between social and economic return. And the moment you choose something, one of the two, you're making the wrong choice. I'll tell you an example. June 2018. So we had just been alive 3 to 4 months. We got a term sheet from one of the best VCs in Southern Europe. Good valuation, good terms, aligned. And I asked the president of the fund, profit or purpose? He said, profit. And I said, wrong answer. And he said, purpose? I said, wrong answer. And then both. So we only partner with funds that want both. And that doesn't mean that they need to be social impact funds. But they just mean that they will invest in a founder and a team that chooses to not choose between the two. If that is aligned, everything is aligned, but we need to be aligned. I'll give you an example. Another example, salary of the carers. Anyone short-sighted will think, well, if you lower the salary of the carers, you will sell more. Supply, demand, basic. Well, you might sell more in the short term, but you will have two problems: more churn, hence more cost.
Yeah.
And more churn, hence less quality, hence less prescription. And in this market, 75% of the customers come through prescription. So you might as well offer a good quality. So instead, if you pay carers more, then all of a sudden it changes, right? Like, maybe your margins are lower, but all of a sudden they offer better quality. You retain them more, they bring on more customers, they bring more carers, and then you grow faster. So I think it's a philosophy of choosing to not choose. Yeah. And I constantly tell my team, the more impact we have, the more return, the more impact, and we need to keep going. And that's a philosophy.
I love that. That's actually something that we speak a lot about at LSE, because it's about changing this short-termism in society in general. Yeah. And it comes from VCs changing, or VCs or any investor changing when they are expecting to actually make a profit, but also from entrepreneurs like you, where they're very clear on what they want to achieve with their company.
So building on that, right? I think there is a concept that I pay a lot of attention, which is systemic change. So when you set up a company in healthcare space, you can take a healthcare space and make a business out of an inefficiency, or you can say, I take this healthcare space that is not working, I'm going to create a company that helps fix it. It's very different. In both you can make money, in both you can have impact, but in one you make money out of an inefficiency, in the other one you make money out of changing the system for better. And that is my obsession. How do we achieve systemic change? How do we make sure, for example, in Qida, that we partner with insurance to solve the access problem? How do we partner with public healthcare system to share the data that is created at home so they can be actually proactive? How do we partner with our caregivers so that they can actually access better care? So what I'm trying to build is a systemic change. And I put a lot of emphasis on that because it's harder. I believe it's harder. Maybe it takes a bit longer, but once you're in, you're really stick. It's really hard to get you out. You have a lot of moat.
Absolutely. Where do you think that this systemic change needs to come from?
Well, I think part of my thesis is that it needs to come from outside the system, with the system. So working with healthcare systems for these 10 years and advising what to do, it was just simply not happening. It's so hard as a politician, and I've been not as a politician, but supporting some, to make systemic changes. Many people say, oh, it's because politicians don't have the incentives, they don't have the talent, they don't invest the time. Okay, we could argue some of that. Some do, some don't. But I think we as citizens are not always willing to accept that what it takes to fix a healthcare system. How many people, if I tell them, how many people would vote for a politician that is going to close down some beds in the hospital of their town and is going to invest in primary care? No. They will want to invest in primary care and don't close the beds. So we keep adding and adding and adding. But as citizens, we need to understand that is being paid by us. Yeah. And so if instead of putting the taxes to a pot and then paying, I said, okay, your bill for this decision that you're making is going to cost you 1,000 euros. Are you going to make it? No. Then you save 1,000 euros. That is something that people are not really aware. And so for me, it's not only a problem of those that make decisions, it's also a problem of those that vote. And so it needs to come from outside as a force that forces the system to say, hey, look, clearly you're going to save money because we will have less patients. And why? Not because we will not have the people, but because we will keep them at home. And if they are at home, they are not ill. And if they are not ill, well, you just simply don't have other choice than saving.
Hi. Can I ask you a quick favor? Every week, we dive into the stories of founders that do more than just make money. Our mission is to prove that a career in impact can be both purposeful and financially sustainable. If you believe in creating meaningful work, share today's episode with one friend who's ready to make a difference. It would mean a great deal to me. Your support is what keeps this show alive and growing. Thank you. I think that's something that you can extrapolate to other industries.
Yeah.
And people are not aware of how powerful their vote is.
Yeah.
Not only their vote to institutions or politicians, but also their vote in which products do they buy?
Yeah.
Which services do they pay for? And I think that if we all change that a little bit, then we would already be voting with how we spend our money.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's around creating consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of what you're doing with the podcast is building a collective consciousness around how do we make collective choices, individual choices that brings collective changes.
Thank you for saying that.
No, to you.
Talk to me about culture. What are the foundations of Qida's culture?
So culture, step back and a step forward. Culture is the single thing where I invest the most time. I consider it very precious. It's built over 1,000 decisions, and then you make one mistake, and then you go back, and then you need to go forward again. So the first thing is really important. Second thing is, I think, is the source of our competitive advantage. And the third thing is you have to write your culture. So culture can be written, and we've written it in our manifesto, and it's public, and it's a Qida manifesto, and it's really important for us. These are the step backs. The step forward, what are the fundamentals of this culture? Quality first. So if we cannot do it well, we don't do it. Go big or go home. We're not here to do something small. I don't have time. I have one life. And it's a small secret, but everyone listening to the podcast also has one life. And I'm going to use it for this. And I'm determined. That's what I want to use my life for in my professional part. And so go big or go home. Another one is in Qida, make things happen. So if we say something, it's something, and it's not something else. And so that's a delivery, mindset of delivery and a mindset of commitment. We care. So while we are aggressive in growth and ambitious, we also care for people and how we all feel, and we support each other. Radical transparency. We tell people what's going well and what's not. And I think that is hard. And we like to tell people first what they are not doing well before we tell it in public, but it's something that is relevant, right? And so those are the foundations. And then it's about role modeling. It is about encouraging people to get better every day and attracting people that feel attracted by this culture.
As you know, one of the main objectives of this podcast is to inspire talent to make the transition towards purpose-driven companies. What are the skills or qualities that you look for in job seekers?
How do you define success? So I always ask a question of imagine you and I are speaking in 3 years from now, and you're doing an interview with me, final interview. By the way, I do all final interviews to get into Qida. It's another side topic, very relevant.
You still do them?
Yeah. And I ask them, what will happen 3 years from now if you're happy at Qida? You're smiling, you're talking to me, we're all good. What happened these 3 years? In other words, what's your definition of success? And they talk about different things. I'm not going to give the answer, but some say, I got promoted 2 times during this period. I get paid more. I learned a lot. I had an impact. The company achieved their goals. Everyone has a different answer. It's not right or wrong. But through that question, I sense what's most important to them. And I always say, if what's most important to you is your lifestyle, for example, don't come to work with us.
Yeah.
It's not who we are. It's not our value proposition. Of course, we don't crunch people all around, but we want people to work hard for our mission. If what you want, one of the things you want is to leave a mark in this world, come and work with us. If you want to work with good people, come and work with us. If you want to work with people that are good, come and work with us. So if you want to grow fast, come and work with us, right? And so it's really about why do people join us or want to join us, and then how relevant is impact within that. And I have top executives that never thought about social impact. They came for the ESOPs, like for the return. But during the process, they said, oh wow, I will work in a company that 10 years from now might have achieved this. That's really cool. So there are lovers or believers, if you want, and there are people that fall in love. I don't mind. I can be happy with both. But if after a full process you don't fall in love, probably it's not for you.
Then it's not for you. That was exactly my next question.
Yeah. So we answered.
Yeah. How many are you in the company right now?
We are 200 people, 230 people in the office, around 20 offices across Spain, some really tiny of 1-2 people, some much bigger like Barcelona, Madrid, and then 1,500 carers directly employed by us.
Now, you just mentioned earlier that you're going through your Series B raise. What's the goal in terms of hiring?
Well, the goal of the funding round is to do a ×3 in top line, which essentially means and implies very clear leadership in the markets where we operate. So building a 100 million company by 2027. That's what we're trying to build.
Wow.
And in terms of people, that will probably mean that we will go from 250 to 350, 400. So we don't need to do a ×3 in people. Probably 60, 50, 70%. We should do it. Of all sorts, like psychologists, occupational therapists, social workers, educational workers, for care coordinators sort of role or recruiting of caregivers sort of role. And then on the other side, tech, AI engineers, like marketing, like all across the board. So we actually are hiring a lot.
If any of the people that listen to this podcast end up working for Qida, then I will have achieved my objective.
I mean, I mean, you should all listen, subscribe, and I will be here like coming every week to try and hire more.
You mentioned AI engineers.
Yeah.
I know it's a very hot topic, but how are you expecting to implement AI in the whole Qida process?
We are already implementing. There are a number of use cases, but they can be split into quality and efficiency. Quality, things like, for example, the calls that we do with a new customer are assessed by an AI agent that makes recommendations of, you should do this better, you're doing this very well, after each call. So that's an example. Another example is we do assessment on whether people have Alzheimer or not, and we have to follow very strict protocols. And so, of course, when you do these protocols 20 times a day, maybe you relax a bit as a human, you know. So to avoid that, you know, we track it and we audit. And instead of a human listening for an hour, if the protocols were right, we have the bot listening, and the bot tells us, hey, yes, no. So that's quality. There's like a bunch of other use cases. And efficiency, there is a lot also. Like there is a lot that can be done there. Like, for example, following up with a patient if they took the medicine or not. We don't need a human that says, hey, do you take the medicine? We can have an AI agent that calls and seeks. And then if they want to speak to a human, then we speak to a human, right? So it's elements like that make a difference. For us, we have a manifesto, an AI manifesto at Qida also. We only have two, the Qida manifesto and the AI manifesto. It's like,
that was my next question.
No. We just have two.
How many more?
But it's like, look, we don't let go people because of AI.
Okay.
But we will hire less potentially.
Yeah.
We don't need to be hiring as much if there is an AI that does it for us. But our commitment is that our employees are safe.
Absolutely. I'm thinking again about the systemic change.
Yeah.
And the system, it's not designed for purpose, and it's not designed for this long-term vision. I am curious to know, how would you convince someone to change their minds?
I'm not sure you have to change their minds.
Okay.
So I want to do it well, fast, and big. Some people just hear the part of well, some people hear the part of fast, and some people hear the part of big. I want the three. Imagine I end up with the best home care quality in the world. I'm gonna just make a point. In the city of Sabadell. Okay? I'm the absolute best. Everyone loves me, and I'm only in Sabadell. I have not achieved my goal. Imagine I'm global. I care 5 million people every day. Wrong quality. I haven't done it. And imagine I build it over 100 years. I don't have 100 years probably. So I want to do these three things, right? And so BC is like that. And so I don't need to change their mind. All I need them to buy into is that if we force this guy to choose between social impact and economic impact, he's not going to choose because he's already chosen. And if they buy this, they can sit in our board. And if they don't, they can't. They are not qualified to guide this company towards its mission, which is steering the company, right? And the mission is the mission. It cannot be changed. It's what it is. And so I think investors want that. It's true that if we bring it to more specific examples, right? Like maybe there are sort of investors that look for 3 to 5 years time horizons. Well, I can go fast, but maybe not in 3 to 5 years. So I always try to get in funds that are in their beginning of investing. So the first 2 to 3 years, so they still have 7, 6, 7, 8 years ahead of them. I don't put a fund that needs to exit in 4 years, because then, well, maybe I haven't achieved all I wanted. And then the second thing is under promise, over deliver, right? So do a plan that you can deliver on. I did plans in the past 2022 which I could not deliver on. One plan, and oh my God, I suffered a lot. So now we do plans that we can deliver. And then, of course, you can deviate up or down 10 plus 10, 20%, right? But it can go up or it can go down, right? But I think that's how I think about it. And it's not for everyone. But anyway, investors, 98% of them say no.
Yeah.
Right? So we are in the business of hearing the last yes. And by the way, the one that says yes is the last one typically. So you have to hear a lot of no's, because the yes is thinking hard whether yes or no, and comes at the end.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how we think about it.
What's one business you'd start tomorrow if you could pick something different to what you're doing today?
It's hard. I don't know if I would choose something else. I'm so much in love, and I really mean it. I'm so much in love with this problem. It's my life. It's my professional life. If I had to choose something else, I could not do this. Probably I would try to change the system from inside. I would not start a company. But maybe, imagine I do this for 20 years and we change, across Europe, multiple countries, healthcare systems, and then, I've got 20 more years or 10 more years. I would probably either one of the two, or the two, either mentor other entrepreneurs, for sure. I don't know if it's a business, that probably, if Qida went well, probably I wouldn't charge for it, but that is one. Mentoring, I love it, or teaching, entrepreneurship and stuff. Or I would maybe try to change it from inside the system, like being a high exec in a public system, and try to do the same faster from inside. It's really hard though, because those that both,
I can imagine,
I don't think are willing to take the chance, and it's another challenges in the public system to the change. But I don't think I'm in love with this problem.
Wow. I think that's a very kind of well-known sentence in general in the business world. Fall in love with the problem and not with the solution. But, you do seem very, your words are very honest when you say that.
And I think, as I said before, there are many faster, easier ways to make money in healthcare. Like this, it's a super inefficient business. It's full of health tech investments, for a good reason.
Yeah.
But am I solving the problem I left McKinsey for? No. So why would I do it? I could just stay there. Everything was okay. So you need to know why you left, and then what you're willing to give up. And I am willing to give up a lot to solve a hard problem. So that is how I think about it.
Knowing the vision and the objective of this podcast, is there anything else that you think that it's important for the listeners to hear, considering your experience in the world of social entrepreneurship?
Yeah, maybe look from my position, right? Might be right or wrong, but just to share a couple of thoughts. I think one has to do with resilience. You need to know what you're willing to give up in order to get somewhere. So know what you're willing to give up. And in my case, I'm willing to give up a lot, so I know I need to be very resilient. So that is one. Second one, I would say to those listening, is stay balanced. For example, I know how you stay balanced. For some people, it's family. For some people, are friends. For some people, it's traveling. For me, it's running. I love running. Okay. If I'm not working, I'm running. Of course, I love my family, but I love running.
I actually saw that you did a 58 kilometers run recently.
Yeah, my knee still remembers.
Really?
No, it was good. It was a Menorca. I loved it. I really recommend it. And it was 58 kilometers. I had never done anything like this. It was I know it's not 2 marathons, but it felt like 2 marathons. And I've only done 1-time marathon. So 2 times was whoa. Okay. So find your balance. That's second. And then the third thing I would say is stay true to your mission, even if people are telling you they will not fund it or you're wrong. Always listen. That's important, to listen. But Changing your mission? You can change many things, but your mission is a bit hard. That's why you wake up every morning, right? So be willing to change everything, maybe I would say, except for the last objective that you have.
Objective. Well, Oriol, thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you.
being here, for your wise words. I hope that I actually get people inspired to work not only for Qida,
You are already doing it. So.
but for the impacts industry in general. And I do think that anyone that joins Qida from now until the future, it's a very lucky person, and that they'd be really happy to work for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much.
Thank you.